from the MCPLive.tv studios, located in downtown Conroe, it's the Conroe Art League, live.
Hello, and welcome again to Cal Live, the show that brings you what you need to know about the Conroe Art League, its talented artists, and the wonderful people who make it so special to our Conroe community. My name is Susan Gramachis, and I'm delighted to be your host today with my guest, Wendy Moreland. Wendy is a very talented artist with a passion for color, texture, and depth. And she actually enjoys working in several mediums, including paper quilling, collage, cold wax oil, and ceramics pottery. But she's focused mostly on quilling right now, and as she calls it, painting with paper. And it's such an incredibly intricate and beautiful medium that I am just taken by it, and I can't wait to explore it with Wendy. So welcome, Wendy, and we're so happy to have you on our show.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Let's talk a little bit about your background.
Okay.
So where were you born, and what brought you to the Conroe area?
Well, I am a Iowan, so I'm a transplant.
Okay.
And I've been here almost, I want to say 30 years, so I'm not going back.
Well, you're a Texan by now.
That's right. And I love the area. You know, relationships come and go, and I have two wonderful children, and Texas kept me here. So, and then I'm currently married, and Bill and I have been together almost 10 years. So
there you go.
Yeah, and we're from the Conroe area. So in deciding what to do for the future, and art became a possibility for me. I'm self-taught, and I have a background in custom framing with many years helping others frame their great pieces. So it's kind of different to be on the other side and actually be the artist and have the pieces. So.
Yeah. So, Wendy, do you work in your home? Do you have a studio?
Yes, my husband and I have built a new home, and he set aside a place for my art, so it's not all over the house, and keeping it all in one spot. So yes, I create a little studio.
But you also have a professional career that you currently.
Yes, I work in downtown in Houston and from home at times. So in construction, I do contracts and insurance for a really great company that builds commercial and fit outs, and we stay busy.
So this is your outlet. Your art is your kind of way to
unwind,
therapeutic, if you will.
Yes.
And
I love my job, but it's nice to come home and to relax.
And is that when you do it mostly, or
yes.
when you're home on the weekends? And
usually a couple hours
evenings,
at night to wind down, and then definitely the weekends and stuff. So.
Oh, great. Well, tell me how you got inspired and what it is you're doing now, the passion of doing this unique quilling, paper quilling.
We experienced a flood in the New Caney area, and we had a lake house in the Livingston area, and we were going back and forth. And at that point, I was able to work with my acrylics and oil and cold wax, but then that didn't become an option. And paper was easier to transport. And so in looking for a medium to work in while we built our new home, I came across Yulia Brodinskaya, and she is a quilling artist that is primarily on Instagram, and I believe she has a Facebook page. But her style inspired me to kind of look at what I could do with it. She has a very different and very vibrant technique also. But I wanted to create my own designs and still kind of stay with the quilling. I'm not as traditional as a lot of quilling artists. It's uniform shapes and designs, but
so there's a history behind quilling.
My understanding is that the nuns used it to cover books and create grill work because for bindings, and it was a creative process for them. In the old world in that. So.
Okay, so it evolved, and is it something that you find becoming more popular, or more people doing it, or is it very unique, and are there very few quillers?
I know that Carrie Yant with the Conroe Art League, her designs were much larger.
Okay.
And her style was unique to her, and she was a great inspiration.
Uh-huh.
But I wanted something that was, I wanted to quilt, but I didn't want to do the same thing.
Right.
And so developing my own style, I kind of went my own path.
Yeah.
And a lot of experimentation with the papers
And how long have you been doing this?
The art I've been doing about 6 years. I'm self-taught, so I really didn't realize I had the talent until I tried it. So if you're thinking you can't do art, give it a try. Hit the Conroe Art League. There's lots of great opportunities for courses. It may not be your medium,
Right.
but there are so many things you can take away from a workshop that you can incorporate into your work.
Yes, from other mediums.
Yes,
I'm sure
yes.
that you can go, well, the wax, the cold wax.
Oil and cold wax,
yeah,
yes. There's lots of opportunities for different, even on the YouTube videos, there's online courses that are available.
Yeah.
Stretch your wings, invest in yourself, and see how it works with you, and create your own style based on, maybe a technique or composition that you've learned.
So, well, let's look at one of your pieces, and we can talk about how you start that. And all right, well, here we go. There are beautiful.
This is the Wish Granter, and on this piece, I did not want to do a manipulated paper. I wanted to be able to create a piece that was just out of paper strips. And so the majority of the design is cut strips of either an 1/8 inch or a 1/4 inch that is rolled or bent, not crimped or folded.
Okay.
In the sense. And so as I went through there, I spun the round ones and created the center. And it was a fun design. I'm not sure I'll do it again because it was very time consuming with the very small strips. And they're packed in there into the honeycomb design.
Is that more difficult for you than the crimping?
It's not as difficult. It's time consuming. It takes a lot of patience and time to cut the strips to fit in to all the little grids, which I use a hexagon shape. It's the most efficient form in construction, and it's supposed to be the strongest one in nature. You find it in your skin cells, you find it in your DNA, you find it in animals, turtles. I mean, everything has the hexagon shape in it in some form.
Yeah, so it's, tell me when you start that piece, do you draw the background on a piece of canvas and then come out with the flowers, or how do you come out with your actual flowers?
Well, the initial design is drawn onto a stable artboard. Usually it's illustration board. It's something that has a firm background. Canvas, it doesn't work so well on canvas because of the bounce in the canvas and stuff.
So it's a firm
So
board.
I do stick with the board on my designs and stuff. I have had the most success. Now, all these pieces are behind glass, conservation glass, when they're framed. My challenge was to move beyond that and to do something that would not need glazing. So there's lots of experimentation that can be done with the paper, and it's a fun medium.
They have to be in order to preserve them so they do not get, it seems to me they'd be very, very fragile.
Well, when you adhere them with, I use a bookbinder form of glue, which is archival, and I mix it with, depending on the sheen that I want with the glue, satin finish is usually, and I find another satin finish polymer to do a 50-50 on. And I've had good
the glue and then the paper?
No, individual pieces are glued.
Oh, wow.
So it is. It's one piece at a time, and you kind of mop it up with Q-tips and stuff so that it doesn't overwhelm. But again, when it has a satin finish and you're packing the different designs, it doesn't really show up. But the finished piece, you can add your matte medium and reduce the shine if you have any gloss that's showing from
and
the
the
gluing
color
process.
is all in the paper. You don't add any
No, cardstock and paper in general, you either have printed paper or you have solid core. And so when you're purchasing your paper, you kind of turn it on its side and you see the color of the core of the paper. And it's not that you can't use printed paper, you just have to know when to use it, because if you're looking for the color that's on the printed side, that's not what's going to show unless you fold and bend it in a different
In that
method
way,
so that it blooms out.
Right, right.
And you can use other textured paper. There's lots of great roughly ones that even when they're cut gently, they give a nice fluffy cotton look. So again, experiment with your paper.
Yeah,
and cut the
yeah.
strips.
But you don't add paint to the paper.
No,
you don't.
no.
No. Okay.
No.
All right. Let's look at another one that you've got. Oh my gosh, that looks just incredible.
This is probably one of my favorite pieces. It's called The Efficiency of Nature.
Oh.
And it has multiple sizes of the hexagon shape as the framework for the foundation, which was fun because, again, it's very intuitive, very organic. And as you work different shapes, I find that I can sit and create multiple shapes in an evening and decide what I want to put. And if I don't like something, a happy accident, down the line I'll cover it up. And it's always going to be there as a foundation piece, but it may not necessarily be what the viewer sees as part of the process.
Yeah. So is this a good one for you to talk a little bit about your process and how, I know you brought some things to maybe demonstrate how you actually begin something like this?
Well, the simple tools of quilling, and I have purchased equipment, and thinking, oh, I'm going to use this, and I'm going to honestly. There is a slotted tool that has just a little slip at the end. There's a little pointy owl, and then your tweezers and a pair of scissors and a curling guide that I use sometimes. But by and large, it's the tweezers and the slotted tool with my little glue applicator. So it's not complicated as far as what you need to do the work. It's just, your design in your head.
Right.
And
well,
putting it on, it's all up here with any artist. The design is inside, and how do you translate it to?
I mean, one thing is having the tools, like a painter has brushes and paints, but the other is your creativity in what you are actually making, which is, what makes it so special. And then the papers are can you get the strips, or do you have to?
Well, there are locations that sell the pre-cut strips, and they're very thin, and they are limited in the quantity. So you're going to spend a certain dollar amount, $3 or whatever, to get a small quantity of paper. I use cardstock. I buy the 8.5 by 10 or 12 by 12s, at the local art gallery, art supply areas.
Yeah.
And I use, Fiskars has a great slicing trimmer, and I just I have 3 or 4 of them, and I set them to a specific size. And so that way I can,
you can cut
multiple
your own
ones, and I can go from size to size without having to, worry about the measurement size or
good.
So it's a good investment if you're going to do it for quickness, and you do use quite a few.
And it's more economical if you cut it yourself. Yeah.
Yes.
And so you said cardstock.
And cardstock can be trimmed into various different sizes, large, small.
Yeah.
I mean, it's whatever you need for your size. Again, the backgrounds are typically. You start with the smaller ones in the back, and then as you work forward, you have the taller pieces. So whether you're doing squares or whether you're doing round pieces, you're basically just spinning it. And you can create large pieces, you can create small pieces. It's really, it's up to you what you want to do with a piece, and you can create multiples of them. So
do you ever think about doing like a workshop? Would they?
Definitely with the certain conditions right now that it's not always possible,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it wouldn't be a long workshop. It's not. It's more about teaching the process and then letting the
yeah,
viewer
yeah,
decide what they want to do with it. But it's
So
very simple.
awesome.
I mean, and that's just
Yeah.
you can use these for various different designs. This is one that I had done, and again, it has a little different view.
Wow.
So-
Yeah. Can you? I don't know if Billy can get into that. Yeah. There you go. Turn it over.
There we go.
There you go. Yeah. There. Yeah. Wow.
And so, and that does it. It has a lot of depth to it.
Uh huh. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
It's a fun piece. It's a fun medium to work in. It really is.
Oh, and something like that, just as you said, it's intuitive. You just start and it evolves. It
I
becomes,
have a design plan. I think with every artist, you have it. You know where you want to go,
Yeah.
and you work with your medium on the foundation, and let the creativity of color. And sometimes it's not it's not always going to be the same color as it is in nature. It's what you have. Cardstock is awesome for the vibrance of color. And as you've seen in some of my pieces, the color is very dynamic. You don't mix. You can cast shadows with paper, but pure cardstock color, you know what you're working with, and you.
Well, I know the large piece we looked at is more monochrome. It's
Yes,
it's
neutral
a more
palette.
neutral palette.
Yes, and the multitude of different whites that is available. White isn't always white.
No, right.
White in paper has blue cast to it when it's turned on its side, and it can have a violet side. And when it's next to another color, it'll cast a different color. So it's fun to
So
work in the
interesting.
medium.
Yeah, yeah. Do you ever incorporate other than paper, like a collage? I would say.
Well, yes, I use acrylic paint to texture a background for color that I'm looking for. If it's a watercolor, water shade in the background, that I'm not going to use a lot of paper to design with. I prefer to use that. Mulberry paper is awesome. It has a translucent appearance when you lay it down. So
mulberry paper. So that's a specialized paper, I guess.
it's a handmade paper that you can buy. It's Japanese oriented, but it's dark when you start, but when you lay it down, it turns to a translucent, and then when it dries, it has a nice finish and stuff. But
amazing how you evolve and learn all these things.
well, and it came because of the necessity of I don't like to have to cover everything with quilling. And to have a background paper in a certain color lets you, again, add depth without having to create
the whole surface.
Cover the whole, yes. If I can, and again, it just depends on the piece. Sometimes you want it to set back and you want to bring out the depth of it. So.
Okay, I think there's another one that we have. Oh my goodness,
this is the Southern Star.
So gorgeous, beautiful.
And I was recently I placed second place in a competition in the Houston area with
congratulations!
this.
I can see that. Oh, it's beautiful.
It was a fun winter piece that about this time of the year I started and I finished it. It took me about 3 weeks.
That took 3 weeks.
Right,
to do?
the overall design and stuff.
So like 6 months.
No. I usually need 3 to 4 weeks to do a commission piece, just so that I have the time because of my work schedule and things that happen in life.
Sure.
It's a fun medium, and I work with designers on. They bring ideas to me and say, I'm working in this color, and I have. I throw them out as some ideas, and they select, and I've been happy to say that they've been successful. So.
Oh, Wendy. So do you? Where do you exhibit your work?
Conroe Art League. I do have pieces at home, but by and large, I work through the Conroe Art League.
I know you have a website. I think.
Well,
right?
I'm on Facebook.
You're on
and
Facebook.
Stuff. I use.
Right.
I don't.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Yes,
yeah.
I use Facebook, and I'm on the Conroe Art League. We have a great artist profile.
Yes.
And if I help them a lot of times, if there's an artist that would like to upload images and stuff to their folder on the Conroe Art League website, I'm available to assist with walking them through the process. But a lot of great opportunities through the Conroe Art League. I can't give them enough high praise for being a part of it.
I mean, everybody is so, we have such a treasure with that whole organization. It's been so wonderful and such a gem to have it in our community.
Absolutely.
Are you working on something now, commission or
no? Yeah, I'm working towards. We do a 12 by 12 for the Conroe Art League, so I'm still. I have my background design, but I'm still working on what I want to do for that, and I have several opportunities every year that I'd like to have pieces. So I have them in the back of my mind, but I haven't really started them, and of course I have. The Christmas season's coming up, so I do smaller, a series of ornaments, usually 12 ornaments or so for the season. And
I've seen note cards. Sometimes people do note cards. Do you ever do those?
I haven't found that the quilling photographs as well. It doesn't mean it can't be done, but because it tends to not capture the true vibrance of it, and they cast a lot of shadows when because of it, and it takes away. You almost have to see it in person.
Absolutely you do. I mean, you have one hanging in the gallery now.
Yes, the Lotus Duet.
I would love everybody to go visit the gallery so that you could see the incredible piece that she's got hanging there now. It's just, you can stare at it and sit and look, and I got closer, and it's just.
I can honestly say I feel that this medium is, in my style, I find that the viewer wants to look at all of it. There's so many unique facets to it that oftentimes you'll want to look at a painting, but not very many times will you want to really look and study the piece to see the different components.
Yes, I found myself just, each corner and seeing, oh, look what she did there, and look what she did there, and oh my gosh, it's pretty fascinating what you do.
I have to say, I love the medium. I love the medium.
Do you frame your own work? Do you custom?
I work with Carrie's at Cornerstone Framing. Okay. With the archival, as much as we can, we use liners typically because of the depth of the piece, and conservation plexi has been, the plexi's been the best and the most pure color without changing it. So, and I would say, talk to your framer before you're doing your artwork, because there's been times we've had to make adjustments on my style because of framing. So knowing what I'm going to be going into for a frame helps me and helps Carrie put the package together. So I don't get my design too far to the edge. I don't want to lose anything.
Are most of quilling, are they like shadow box framed?
Right, because of the depth. Because of the depth. That we either stack a frame or find a way to accommodate, the depth of the piece, and again, not overshadow it, but expand the view. Sure. And she's great to work with on it. She comes in. We talk about the design of the piece, and knowing that you're going to finish it, and you want it to look. I know it's paper, but it's art.
It's art. It looks like of course it's a work of art. It's your creation, and it's beautifully done, and that's your medium. I'm just fascinated by it. I think it's just beautiful, and it's one of those things that strike you when you go and look at all the pieces in a gallery that are lined up on the wall. Somehow you gravitate towards that because it just pops out. It's so different, It's just
appreciate that.
Very. I don't even want to say abstract because there's a definite.
It is definitely abstract in its nature, but with the wonderful artists and the variety of artists that we have at the Conroe Art League, to be in that category of where you can go through the list of great artists that are exhibiting there, and I really enjoy when I have a really great piece. I like to have it there. So.
Oh, good, Wendy. Well, we're so fortunate to have you there. Is there anything else that you want to share in terms of your process? I know you brought all kinds of things.
No, I'm hoping that in the near future we'll work on a workshop and stuff, and I'll be able to share more.
There would be so many people, I think, that would love to just have at least an opportunity to.
Or you're always, I think my studio at my house is always open. If you always want to come up to Point Blank, you can come for a visit, and we can quill there.
Oh, well, it's definitely a fascinating medium, and I'm so thrilled that you were able to join us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thank you to our viewers for spending time with us again today and sharing your time as we could share ours with you and this very talented lady who does such a unique piece of art. And remember that at the Conroe Art League, we create, appreciate, and learn together, and we will move on and hope to catch you on our next show. Thanks for joining us. Bye-bye.